Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about how to preserve your meat in the freezer. I've done another video about how to can meat. That's just one way of prepping and saving some food for 1 to 2 years. A lot of it will last up to 2 years. The problem is you're going to have some food in your freezer, you might want to have some food for canning, and you might want to store food in food buckets. And I will be making another video about that. But what enticed me to do this is I had a friend asking what we were doing for prepping, and we're not like big time preppers where we're obsessed. I know there's going to come a point if things go south that you're going to have to get creative. The prices are sore, your food supply will run out, and obviously you're going to be preserving for your family, but you're not going to be greedy and not help your neighbor. So there's just a lot of factors involved that we don't know about. So we just kind of do it slowly, just do some here and there, and it is what it is, if that makes sense. So when I shared with a friend about prepping, she did not know that she needed to prep in the freezer a certain way, didn't know that she needed to put her dry goods into sealed buckets and things like that. So today what I'm going to talk about is what I do. It may not be the best way, there's other things other people do, but we always will buy a large package of chicken, for instance. Usually they're like in 5-pound packages, and we might eat a meal out of it, and then I will freeze the rest. And I have a shelf in my freezer. The top shelf is all my 2021 frozen goods, and then the next shelf is 2022. And as I eat from my freezer, I make sure I choose from the top. You have to make sure you stay on top of everything, even if you're buying canned goods and things like that. I put them in little boxes, the tray that the canned goods come in, and on the outside I write the expiration year so that I'm always eating the oldest thing. So I have a shelf that says eat it now, like this is your first box to go to, and then it says 2022 on the next one, and so forth. I think I have all the way up to 2025. Yes, I can eat things out of it, but don't just make sure everything is labeled and you're eating the oldest things first, no matter what you're eating from. So okay, so when I get my chicken, I eat a meal out of it, and then I will freeze the other portions into meal sizes. There's 3 of us in my household. My husband, me, and my mother live here. So I try to just make enough for the 3 of us. Sometimes I'll freeze a larger package if we have company, but I can always grab 2 or 3. So, it doesn't matter. It just do what makes sense for you. So down below, you're going to see links to all the tools that I'm telling you about. I'm going to show you how I do it. And again, the most important thing you can do is label everything and keep track of the dates. And like I said, that's how I do it in my freezer. It has shelves. I'm not excessive. If the power goes out and you don't have a backup power, you're going to lose everything in your freezer. We're actually talking right now about getting a propane generator and possibly putting some solar panels in. And I'll talk about that if and when that happens. But you have to have a backup system if you're starting to preserve a lot of food. My sister just bought a whole cow. If her power goes out, she's losing over $2,000 worth of meat. So, make sure you have all these things in place, because I don't want you to lose money in trying to preserve for your future. Okay, what I do when I start to prep or freeze my food for the freezer is I use a food saver, and this is, I'm going to give you a closer view as I use it, but this is what it is, food saver. Okay, it's a sealer, it seals, and you have to use these special bags or rolls of plastic, and we're going to turn them into bags. We have to seal the end. I have this size here and this size here, so you can see the difference in the 2 sizes. I keep both because sometimes I will do smaller bags of maybe chicken pieces, so I can do chicken nuggets, and this one is for larger pieces of meat that I want to freeze, your roasts, and today we're going to do 3 chicken breasts. So I'll go ahead and show you how I cut it to measure it, and then I will show you how I seal it. I'm going to lay this out on a plate so that you can see exactly what I'm sealing. Sometimes, now these I'm going to keep whole because I started doing recipes where I cut these into fillets, but sometimes I cut them into tenderloin. So I'm going to mark that on the outside of the freezer bag this time, just to make sure I know what's in there, because like I said, in the past I've been doing a lot of tenderloins, but now I'm doing some chicken breasts so I can fillet them as well. They cook a lot faster. So I'm trying to collect recipes as well of what I can be doing with these different you know, with all this chicken. And what I do actually is I get the recipe. If it's a plus, everybody likes it, then I will print it and I put it in a folder. Just in case your electric goes out, you can't get to your phone or you can't Google it, you want to have a collection of some of your favorite recipes. This one, I think I'm going to go ahead and use the bigger one to see how it's wide. And we're going to leave probably 1.5 inches on each side. And then I'm going to cut it. And we're going to leave enough room for it to seal. Now, sometimes you might have too much, but just, you know, you'll get better at it as you go. Now we're going to put these aside. Now, I have links below for where to buy these on Amazon. That's where I get mine, and I love Amazon. They just deliver right to the door. Now, before I can do this, I have to seal the end. I'm going to move this up so you can see it. Okay, let's get a better view of what I'm touching here. All right, I'll try to stand to the side. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the end of this plastic. We're going to open this up, and we're just going to lay it in here. And what it's doing is sealing the end. Now we're going to turn this plastic roll into a bag. We're going to close it over here. And then I'm doing a dry seal. There's nothing in here, and it just pops up dry, so I'm not touching anything up here. Now I'm going to hit that button. Whoops, sorry about that. Over here, I'm sealing. And it'll go off when it's finished. I'll go in there a little bit closer so you can see that? So it's a dry seal, and it stopped. See how that light went off? Now I know it's finished. I'm going to pull this up. And there you have it. See how there's like a line going across here? It's sealed. Now what we're going to do is put the chicken into the bag. See, it's all sealed. And we're going to put each piece in. And I might have gotten away with a small bag for this because it's only 3 pieces, and I did cut it a little bit too big. I'm going to actually cut a little bit of that off the end. But usually I do a bunch at a time, and I'll do the first one and then I'll measure from that. Like I'll just measure all the bags out. But that was a little bit too big. All right, and then we're going to put it back into here, lay it in. You want to make sure all the way across it's in there. And see, I don't want the chicken up here on the ledge. I want all that to be flat. So that's about the distance you need. It's about 1.5 inches. We're going to seal, oops, close the side. And then this time we're going to seal it moist. That's what that second light is. I want to give you a thing on that. See? It says seal moist. I hit the button over to moist. And now I'm going to vacuum and seal. That's what this is. The first one said seal. We're just sealing it. This one's going to vacuum. Now, look at the top. Even though the noise stopped, see how the lights are still on? It is now sealing. This light came on, and we want to wait for that light to go off. Because I have pulled it too early before. It just vacuumed all the air out. Now the lights are out, see? No lights. And that one just tells us what we're doing. This one says lights are out, it's finished. And then we can go ahead and take it out. So that's the tricky part. You don't want to take it out too soon. Undo this. And now you have, it's all sealed, okay? And yes, it's still smushy because it's raw meat. All right, and then I get a marker. And some of them have a little spot where you can put your label, but I just write on here. I'm going to write 3 chicken breasts full, and I'll know what that means, and today's date. And then I'm going to put it in my freezer on the shelf that has 2022. So I'm not going to eat this for at least a year, next year, or I could eat it in 2024, but that's the date that I sealed it. I know that the longer the meat stays in there, the less flavor you have. You want to go a year to about 2 years if you have to. I'm trying to do mine within a year and just gradually keep it rotated, if that makes sense. And there you go. And there you have it. Easy peasy, right? Again, I cannot emphasize enough. make sure you date things, make sure you keep track, and eat your oldest food first. I don't want you to start prepping and then throwing a bunch of stuff away. And that's what happened to my friend. She said, I bought some flour and I had saved it, and then it went rancid. And I'm like, you didn't put it in a bucket? And she said, I didn't know I was supposed to. So that's why I'm making these videos, to just, just in case you didn't know, you do want to be careful how you seal things. You can't just put these in a baggie and seal them for a year or two. They're going to get freezer burnt, and yeah, maybe you could eat them, but you're going to lose flavor, and it's not going to be tasty. And who wants that? You want to have fresh meat, fresh food, as long as you can afford it, right? And so this is one of the things that I do for my family, so that we'll have food. All right. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if this was helpful. If you have any other questions, I'll do my best to answer, because like I said, I'm not a pro prepper or anything like that. I just do a little bit here and there for my family, just in case. I always call it just in case. And I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next video.